okay? And I know some people are going to miss it, and they say, Mr. Mayor, what are you doing? But this is where you got to focus in, okay? So one of the ways to do it is with the pen tool, and I can click and move the mouse and click and move the mouse and go around the shape. Or I can start with an oval, and then I can reshape the oval, right? And I'll let you go ahead and change that HDMI cord before I continue, okay? The advantage to using the oval when it's good, like these shapes, because they're almost ovals, right, is there's a lot less to correct when I'm getting the shape exactly as it has to be. And the curvature tool is very nice to just go ahead and refine a few things, right? So I've got the larger orange shapes, and I've got, and some of them are medium, and then the yellow areas are smaller. Maybe I could use a shape, but I'm not going to, you know, the oval tool will work really good for the orange ones. Oh, you're not going to take off. Okay, good. Okay, so I click on the rectangle, and I choose the ellipse tool. Now, when I choose the ellipse tool, I check back up, and my fill is still no fill, and my color is still green. So I'm thinking, yay! So I'm going to make a tall, thin rectangle, okay? And now I have to kind of adjust it. I'm working on this shape here, the large one coming right out of the shoulder, so to speak. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I go to Free Transform to rotate it. I have to be on my Move tool to move it. And I can extend it down. Okay? And now I come back to my Curvature tool. I zoom in. Uh-oh. Okay, I think I forgot to click off of it. Yeah, I have to click off of it. Now I do my Curvature tool, and I click on this. Seriously? And then I can just refine the shape to go around. Oh, come on. So you can also see, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, or a lot. You see these white, you see these dots, and those are nodes. If I click on those, more of my line is going to be adjusted. But if I make a new node, then it gets really cranky, okay? Now, again, I'm not looking for perfection. So I can kind of just say to myself, okay, that's close enough. That's good. Now another shape was created, shape 3. If I really wanted to be particular, I could name each one of these shapes to what it is, but I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. So now I can come back to my oval tool. I'm going to click and make an oval like this. Okay. I click my curvature tool. Let's see if this will. Nope. Whoops. Let's try this again. Oval tool. Ah, come on. It's actually called an ellipse tool, right? And I go right to my curvature tool, and now I can start to adjust this curve to be, oh man, whew, boy, this is really being a pain, isn't it? Okay, so now this one, I don't know if the pen tool would be easier for that one because it's almost like a square. Curve the bottom a little bit. Okay, and then maybe the pen tool for this one too, because it's basically just two curves. Hit my Alt key, go around the other direction, click and drag. There we go. And now I've got these little yellow dots. So each time I make a new shape, Right now I'm on the ellipse tool underneath the rectangle, but I also use the pen tool. Okay, so I have all of these shapes now. The white ones I'm going to do with a paintbrush. I'll show you that in a second. So now if I take my curvature tool, I can, I believe, I got to go here. I'm going to click on the layer shape 7, and then with my curvature tool, I'm going to adjust the size of that. So let me zoom in here. And then shape 8, I can click on my layer. Now you can see the line is almost too big, but I'm not going to worry about that. Shape 9, I click and drag and move that. There it is. Squish this a little bit, squish that a little bit. Oh, come on, seriously? There we go, okay. Shape 10. So when I click on my layer, it's just an easier way to select the shape that I'm trying to adjust. There we go. And then shape 11, you can see the blue line that showed up outside of shape 11. And then shape 12 is this last one. That one actually I'm going to, I'll use my move tool and then I'm going to elongate it a little bit. Well, I have to hold down my shift key to adjust it. Okay. So far, this is what I got. Now, I didn't do the bottom half, shapes. I'll have to do that in a second. But if I wanted to check to see how all these shapes are looking, if I come down to my layers and I make my butterfly picture invisible, you can see where that's not looking too bad. That's looking okay. So let's do the shapes down here on the bottom half of the wing, and then we'll do all of the white dots on the same layer. Okay. So I got to come back to my pen tool. And it's really kind of a preference as to how to get these shapes created, okay? If I see something that's more square, I'm going to use the pen tool. Okay, so I'm going to work my way around. Boy, there's a lot of shapes here. So again, I'm choosing the pen tool because many of the sides are basically straight as opposed to curved. For me, I just find it a little easier. And again, I'm not trying to get perfectly exact. Each time I make a shape and I'm done the shape, I then go up to the move tool and hit the move tool so that the shape then is basically accepted. In other words, it's there, I'm not going to add to it. If I didn't go to the move tool and deselect the shape that I just made, it's going to assume that I want to keep drawing with the pen tool. Now this long skinny one here is going to be a bit of a challenge. Hey, but we're up for it, right? So there we go. Are we talking? Okay, so now I've got all of these shapes for the orange and the yellow, right? I've got 18 shapes. Well, no, I don't. I have 20. I have 20 shapes. Upper half of the wing, lower half of the wing, and all of these orange and yellow shapes. So now I need to create my white shapes. So I'm going to go up to shape 20. Of course, I'm doing it the easy way. Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah. So, so when you use a shape tool, when you use the pen tool or a shape tool or the text tool, it's going to create its own layer because it's another object. Yes?
Is it B3, A3?
That's what I'm wondering. Oh, click on letter and then change millimeters to inches. And then you have 8 by 11. Yeah. Okay. But when I use the paintbrush tool, so if I use any tools above the text tool, they're a little different. They're assuming that I'm going to impact a particular layer that I've selected. But I don't want that. I want these white dots that I'm going to make with a paintbrush on their own layer, right? Now, these are layers, but you see they have this little square in the lower right-hand corner, and they're all called shape. Remember, we have rasterized images and we have vector images. Vector images are shapes. Raster images are images made of dots, of pixels. Okay? So I have to make a new layer. So I'm going to come down to the bottom of my layer panel. And now you can see layer 1 popped up over shape 20. Okay? And it's the selected layer. So I'm going to take my paintbrush tool, brush tool, and I'm going to, I have to make sure that it's white. So down here, this is where it gets confusing. Let me go ahead and zoom in here. So the paintbrush tool is kind of in the middle of the tool palette on the left side. It looks like a paintbrush, okay? You know, right? Then I have to come down, and you see this black square. I click in the black square, I get my color picker, and I go all the way up to the upper left-hand corner. That's white. How do I know it's white? Well, it looks white, but a lot of it. But down here in the code, it's and I close that. How come it didn't turn white? Why didn't? Oh, I know why, because I didn't click OK. There we go. So I click OK, and the square down here turns white. So now when I hit my paintbrush, you can see that it's white. Now, I did a little too much with my mouse there. Okay? So now I want to come around and I want to try and make all of these little dots white. Now, but you say, but Mr. Mayor, they're not white on the butterfly. And you're absolutely correct. They are not perfectly white. So I could try and get that color. But I'm not too worried about that right now. Now, I know the next question is, Mr. Mayor, some of these dots are too small. And so, if you're listening, on the P key as in Paul on your keyboard, there are brackets. The bracket next to the P will make that dot smaller. The next bracket over will make the paintbrush wider in diameter, right? So, and I'm also not going to worry because some of these are, how you say, fuzzy around the edges, but I'm not going to worry about that. Now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to find my smaller dots, paint my smaller dots. Make my paintbrush bigger once I get all the small dots out of the way. And then do the bigger dots. That's another reason I keep it white. It's because whoops. Dots I haven't done. Okay, I think I'm pretty close. Now, for the real test, okay, I'm going to have to make my picture invisible. So I click that layer, and well, I can't see my white dots. That's a problem. So I click on my picture layer, and I add. Wait a second, I don't want to do that. So I click on the picture layer, and then I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm going to color it in, and we'll color it in green. No, I don't want to color it in green because that's the same color as my line. Same problem that I had before. Let's make it red. Okay. So now if I make a red rectangle,